Men.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I'm the boldest man in Kampala. Bold, B-A-L-D, and bold, B-O-L-D, because at the same time, we are ready to have conversations that a lot of people don't want to have. And tonight's conversation is one of them. We are going to talk about polygamy. Now, some people fool themselves and say, oh no, that's something that our grandparents used to be. A lot of us here, maybe parents or grandparents, were polygamous. But now, we act like it's not there. Now, to set us off, guys, I'm going to just put the context in the form of a very brief story. Because I believe there's something called being accidentally polygamous. And I'll tell you how. Now, there is, it happens, and I'll show you how easy it is. There's this guy, a guy I know, and I know he's watching the show, but I'm not going to mention his name. Really good guy, married, wife, 2 kids, working in a very good job. Goes to Mombasa for a workshop. When he's there, has a great time, he tastes this thing called Swahili pilau. It's different from the one that we have in Kampala, what we call pilau. It's the real deal with the spices and all that.
Mm-hmm. Different colors.
Different colors, yes, and all that. So he comes back really excited about it, tells his wife about this and says, you know what, you really should learn how to make this. And she told him in no uncertain terms, that pilau of yours, if you want to eat it, go to a restaurant. Don't eat it here. And he's like, fine, no problem. He shelved that. Again, because workshops is one of the things that he does. Mm-hmm. He ends up in Ginger for a workshop. They go for the workshop. When it's done in the evening, they go out with a couple of friends. When he goes out, he meets this Mchotara girl who's half Swahili. And they get talking. She speaks even a little bit of Swahili. He talks about his experience in Mombasa because they're talking about her ancestry and all that. And then the conversation of pilau comes up. And she tells him she can make pilau. And he's like, really? The Swahili way, they debate about it. And the conclusion was, the only way he can verify is if she cooks it for him. And then he'll be the judge to tell her if it's the one he ate in Mombasa or it's not. The next day, before he leaves Ginger, he goes to her place. Decent place, all that. She cooks pilau. They have an amazing time. But let's just say, in short, he enjoys more pilau than just pilau. All right. So he strikes a very good conversation. She's a very decent girl, very nice. He ends up frequenting Ginger.
For pilau.
For pilau. Okay, because his wife...
Another thing.
His wife has still refused to cook pilau.
Oh my God.
I'm so tired already.
Right? One thing leads to another, but this girl is even taking care of his relationship, such that when all is done and dusted, he rests, he's given a massage and all that. She wakes him up and tells him he needs to get back to Kampala early enough. So she doesn't want him to have any...
Your wife is waiting for you.
Thank you, yes. And the guy comes back. Now, how did I know about this? This guy ended up putting on so much weight, okay? And I asked him, what is going on? And he said, Peter, it's because nowadays I eat a lot. He would leave work at 4 p.m. 3 times a week and fire to Ginger, okay, for his pilau.
To
and
eat more than pilau.
More than pilau. But when he comes back at around 11 midnight, he has to have dinner at home because dinner has been prepared to keep the peace. So he was having 2 dinners.
Because they will ask you, so where did you eat?
Thank you. So just to keep the peace.
Just answer where you ate.
So as life would unfold,
you are trouble causers.
And this goes out to the younger guys, the moment you have consistent sex with somebody, at some point it becomes unprotected sex. It's the natural flow of things. This young lady got pregnant. Now she told him not to worry. She said, look, I understand that you're married and I don't want you to have any issues with your wife. She said, even if you're not interested in taking care of this child, it's okay. I will do it. All right. So she said, if you want to be part of the child's life, it is up to you. And that's how it started. The man stepped up and did the responsible thing and has been taking care of his wife. Of his child. Now, this guy has ended up being accidentally polygamous.
It's no accident.
Which
What do you mean accidental?
That was not the plan. That's what I mean by being accidental.
But I'm having a drink.
It was
I know, right?
so. Now,
You see how long you've taken to tell the story?
Yeah,
That
yes.
shows you it was a journey, not an accident.
Yeah.
yes, but that was not the intended end. Now, tonight
the automatic
on the show,
consequence.
we have Sam, who is an author and also a very strong advocate for men. Now, Sam, are we burying our heads in the sand where
All these
polygamy
books.
is concerned?
These are all his books, yeah?
I think so. I think many of us bury our heads in the sand and keep pretending that it's not happening, but it is happening.
Yes.
That's a fact. There are many people who are polygamous. There are so many others who are not. I would want to believe that the polygamous people are in the minority. That's my personal conviction. And the monogamous are in the majority. That's my personal conviction again.
Yeah.
So yes, I would say yes, many people are burying their heads in the sand, pretending that polygamy is no longer around, but it is. And it is in many different forms, even beyond the forms we used to talk about traditionally.
Yeah.
When you say polygamy, in your mind you think of a gentleman having different
Wives.
wives. I don't mean not say wives, I'm
Homes.
saying women,
Yeah.
because there is a way I understand wife. But that's a conversation for another time.
Right.
But then you will also have polyamory, where now you have a whole mix-up of people, where you have Faisal, you have Chris,
No.
you have Samuel, God
Sorry,
forbid.
you cannot use me
Okay,
as
let's
an
use
example.
James, let's use
Yeah.
But then I'm
whoever.
actually called James.
And then you also have Jen, you have Sharon, you have, and they are all in this category.
Yes.
And it is consensual, it is like official, they know each other. That whole confusion, that's another form. But then there is polyandry, where now it's not the man having all these women, but now it's the woman having all these men. I saw one in Kenya the other time.
Yeah. It was in the
The
news.
woman was parading three gentlemen, and they were all there saluting, and it was all a scuffle. But all that, in my view, is quite a confusion that I hope by the end of this program we will unravel all those different intricacies and have something we can work with that in the long term is more useful than harmful.
Right, great stuff. Now, Colin, one of the greatest fears that happens at African funerals, because it happens across, is until that guy is put in the ground, especially where men are concerned. Because sometimes there's this whole thing of, you see people wearing t-shirts, looking some kind of way, and then guys are like, who are those guys? All right. Then later it becomes a thing. They're not saying anything, but they're just there, you know. And they're saying something without saying something. Now, my question is, should a man who has, okay, these guys have said it's not an accident, who has walked the journey and become polygamous, be able to come out and say, all right, guys, this is the situation. I am sorry. We talked about, what did you call it? Retribution?
Remembrance and revenge.
Yes. And say, look, I made a mistake, all right? I acknowledge it, but this is the situation. We need to live.
So why are we having this conversation when he's dead? Why didn't he come the day he made the mistake?
No, that's what I'm saying. Should it happen then before? Otherwise, if I'll just decide, you know what? Forget it. When I'm
You
dead,
guys
I
will
won't
sort
be
it
here.
out.
I will not be here. And that's none of my business.
So I think these are the hallmarks of a coward. these are statements of cowardly men. You know, spine-livered guys who just cannot. I think so. And you asked an interesting question. And you have to think about the mind frame of the man before he says these things, right? Before men declare things. And how that mindset has changed over time. So, if back in the day where these things were popular, polygamy served several purposes. There was a labor component. You needed to have 2 wives so that then they can all have 6 children, so then you have people to till the land, right? But it presupposed essentially that you had the land. You had the factors of production and you are looking to add on and multiply, right? So that then the little land you had, you worked very hard to buy other guys, add on that land, so that then you left everyone a substantial inheritance, right? I think that the world in which we are now, those factors have changed. Some of those things are no longer holding true. And so, if you have a degree and I have a degree, we are living in the same house, and you want to come and say, I went to Ginger, I had some pilau, now we have a co-wife. Like, no. So because remember that the guy who owned the land could say that, because then you'd have to go back and leave, and you have to, if you could not live with the condition of a co-wife, you'd leave and go back. But now, not only do you not own the land, you are on 50-50 bills. Sometimes you pay the fees, sometimes the other person pays the rent. That's the person who you're living 50-50 with. That's the one you want to say, I want to add another responsibility. If you really want to add another responsibility, Peter, take care of us. If you can take care of us with no help, then you have all the liberty to go and... I think that that's how rational thinking members of society would question it.
Yes.
But the final thing that I want to say, which I find to be the flaw in your opening story, is this, the idea that men just stumble into rice and their stomachs lead them into an 18-year-long, painful, financially excruciating decision. Like, I don't agree with that.
You know?
There's a flaw in there. It's like,
Yes.
it goes into that thing which I always tell you about, like, men are not handbags that they can be stolen. And they are just not always laid by their parents and their stomach. Like, sometimes, and I like to think that most men are like that. However, there can be what you call extenuating circumstances.
You don't believe a man can be lured deliberately, because I've often
Is
seen
lowering the same as stealing, that
Yes.
a man can be stolen?
No,
So the man can make
seduced,
it
What is
seduced.
the difference?
Seduced is different from
Yeah,
yes, you see, because I think-
my man Peter was stolen. He was there. He used to work in the office.
it's just an
Then one day this
excuse.
girl
There's
came and
nothing like
snatched him.
a man has
It's-
been...
let me tell you one thing. And now again I go back to the example. Do you think when this guy was having that conversation with that woman, she didn't know where it was going?
She knew.
We talked about it earlier
Yeah,
about
but-
married men
but if
being
he-
prime.
If he
targets.
had said no, that girl would have just eaten her rice and gone back to bed and cried. But he ate the pilau, then he went back to the bed and he made her cry.
Chris.
Faizo, I need to recover.
Now, fine. So I want to take a slightly different angle. Now, from a perspective of Islam, it's allowed. Polygamy is allowed on the basis that you can take care of the women equally. Yes, without favor, and then you can even get into trouble if it's reported that you're not giving. That's why you find somebody has to buy the same kind of houses and all that. Do you think that division of wealth is a problem?
Okay, if we're going to talk about polygamy in Islam, we might as well talk about where it came from. Yeah. So back then in Arabia, Saudi Arabia, that entire area, people used to marry up to 50 women, 100 women.
Ooh, they were
Like
enjoying having
it was
fun.
really like the culture. Because here's the thing: a lot of the times people confuse the Arab culture for the Islamic culture. Those two things are different.
things.
They're
Yes.
different. The Arabs before Islam were just as wrong as any other faction
Yeah.
around the world. So they used to marry 50 women, 30 women, 100 women. So Islam came and said, you guys, you know what? Let's
Reduce.
realign something.
Let's be realistic.
I'm coming to it. I let you talk, Chris.
No,
That was a short blow.
Sip some
But
juice.
yeah, so here's the thing. So when Islam came, there was a lot of battles back then. People would battle for land, people would battle for territory, and this was a new religion. So we were really battling a lot of times. Yeah. So the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, guys, when we are going to war, we go as brothers. All of us. We go as brothers. I have your back, you have my back. But unfortunately, when we come back home, my brother is dead, or you might be dead, or someone is definitely not coming back home because it's a what? It's a war. And back then, women had been subjected to being at home because in our religion, the woman does not work. like all these other things you're seeing, polygamous relationship, and if you're going to put a woman in that relationship, she has no, like, first of all, the money she's making is hers. Secondly, you have to take care of everything. Everything financially is on you. This is to the men who are thinking about engaging in polygamy.
No.
So here's what happens.
Just before you continue, we do have to just go into a short break. This is getting very, very intense, and I like the look on Chris's face.
Yeah?
Now, we'll be right back after this break because we are here on the sticky topic of polygamy. If you need to eat your pilau, eat it now, but eat it at home. We'll be right back after the break.
Men. Men.
Welcome back from the break. In case you've just joined us, you just missed a quarter of your life because we're having a deep conversation that a lot of people don't want to have about polygamy. Faisal, you were telling us, you're breaking it down for us.
So yeah, so going to where you go as brothers, coming back home, it's different. Someone has lost their husband, they've lost a brother, they've lost the breadwinner, because back then the ladies would stay at home, the men would go out and what? And work. So that meant after war there are a lot of widows. There are a lot of women who have no money, they have no livelihood, they have no security. It's just her and the kids.
Going.
Yeah. So in that era, yeah, the law was, listen, when we're going to war, we go with our brothers. When we come back, some people are dead. So the next war, people are not going to go, because if I die, who's going to take care of what?
And
of my
see
wife.
how you treat-
And back then, people who, women who had kids or women who were divorced were looked at, they were shunned. There's actually a whole scripture in the Quran about why that is a very bad thing. A woman who has a child or a divorced woman is as good as a woman who does not have a child or a woman who has never been married before. So to even the odds, the thing was, if you know Chris, okay, Chris said let's not use him as an example. If you know Collins, we went to Collins. We went to Collins to war. we are fighting.
Yeah.
We come back, Collins is dead.
Yeah.
But I do know Collins' what? Wife. I can first talk to my wife and say, here's the thing, yeah? Milka, we went to war with Spartacus. Spartacus is dead, and now Spartacus' wife is there with all the 4 kids, and she has no way to fend. Is it okay with you if we take up Spartacus' wife and look after her in our family? This was the genesis of that whole thing. Yeah. And the rules, let's say the rules or the guidelines were set. You can only do it if you're going to treat this person the exact same way you're treating this
They are not
person.
your
So
slave.
if you're not, don't bother.
start.
Don't even try. Because the religion knows that however okay a woman is, with it, you still have to accord that amount of fairness. Yeah.
And respect.
However, right now you see people saying, oh, Islam spoiled things. No, guys, before you even get married to a woman in Islam, you have to talk about it first. Am I going to be polygamous or not? If you're going to be polygamous as a man, they add it in a marriage contract. If she does not want you to be polygamous, it's added in the contract before you get married.
Hold up, just to make sure I understand this right. So it is not by default.
No, it's not by default. You don't just wake up and say, guys, I want 4 wives. No. It has to have been there from the beginning, from the get-go. From the
courtship.
point of, I'm going to marry my first wife, you're supposed to communicate that. And if she's like, no, I'm not okay with polygamy, then you can part ways.
Chris.
I've been sipping. I've been sipping
You thought your
juice.
time would never
I've
come.
been sipping juice because
It's alarming.
okay. So
But this has been a lot of knowledge.
knowledge.
Information,
I don't know.
maybe. Information, all right.
Yeah. I have like about 1,000 things to say and very little time. I like to go back to the way things were meant to be, so that when we look at a deviation, the reason why we're discussing polygamy, and that the reason why some people's ears are probably hot if they're like me, or why some are like, you see, they're talking about my thing and whatever, so wherever you are, is because it's not the norm. Okay? It's not the norm. All right? So if we go back, so he went back to Saudi Arabia. I want to go back thousands of years before his story to God creating the earth. Okay? Talk to Islam, let me go back to the Bible. Now, God creates Adam. It's not good for man to be alone. He brings him a wife, Eve, and the two become one flesh. Okay? Now, what's interesting in the Bible is that in Ephesians chapter 5, Paul is addressing marriage. He's talking about husband and wife. Okay? And he says that for that reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. But I speak of a mystery. I don't just speak of a man and a woman. I speak of Christ and the church. So here's the issue. Marriage is not just a man and a woman trying to get an official certificate to have sex every day or whatever it is that people will call it. Marriage is actually a reflection of Christ's love for the church, of God loving his people. And the church is his called out ones, the ones that Christ died for. So in a way, in my marriage, I represent the love of Christ to my wife, who represents the church. So Christ and the church, God and the people he created are the original. That's why God has an undying love. And that's why when God is from the Bible perspective, when God is making agreements with people, he doesn't use contract, because a contract can be revoked. He uses the word covenant. It's irrevocable. Okay?
Yeah.
So as a husband, I represent the love of Christ for the church, which is undying, irrevocable. And my wife represents the church in the relationship of God and his people. Now, the reason why God hates divorce, the Bible says so, is because in some polygamous scenarios, you can check out one person and then replace them like tires. You know, you change the 4 tires of the car, put on four new tires, etc. The reason why that's irrevocable is, and why God hates divorce, is that his love for his people is undying. For God to love the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. So at the very core, marriage is supposed to be one man, one woman.
For life.
Why? Listen, I'm showing you why.
Okay.
Because it's representing Christ and the church, which is a picture of his bride.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, when you understand that, and you understand that Christ is not going to have bride 2, bride 3, bride 4, and it's not an arrangement of convenience, okay? Then you get to understand why polygamy doesn't sit well. So we can sit on this show, have shown up season 2, show season 3, and even say more alarming things that make our ears and heads spin, okay? But it's still not going to go away from the fact that it's an anomaly. We all know it. We all sense it. We all understand it. Let me finish. I let everybody talk.
All right. No,
Okay.
but I just wanted to just touch something small where that's concerned, which you could probably expound on. When you talk about an anomaly, before we were Christians, before we were Muslims and all that, we were Africans.
Before we were Africans, we were Adam. Before Adam was God.
No, but you see, but I'm talking about the way we had been living our lives. But we were taught religion as Africans.
You see, Peter, I'm not talking religion here. I'm talking God and man. Okay? So let me finish.
Irrespective of religious lens.
Let me finish.
Okay, all right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because Africans, Chinese, all that, we all came from Adam. Okay?
All right,
So what I'm talking about is God has this creation he's made, and he's totally utterly committed to that creation. Okay? And one of the pictures he uses is a picture of marriage. Okay? So what's funny is scientists are clever. They've created telescopes that can see what's happening in Mars and all these places. They've not seen any human beings on any other planet. This is the only place with human beings. This is the only place that God created people like us who he loves irrevocably. So when you're playing with marriage, you're playing with something that's higher than all of us. And this is what the Bible says. God's foolishness, like when God is at his dumbest, okay? God's foolishness is so much greater than man's greatest wisdom. So we are ants trying to explain the internet. It's just foolish. And so I sit here and we are all coming up with, whatever variations of the anomaly. It's an anomaly, it's wrong. Okay? It is. So now, when you tell me, what do you do when you find yourself in a scenario like that? You pick up the pieces, when a pot is broken, you pick the ones you can use. It's no longer a pot, maybe one part can be a plate, another part can be a sugar bowl. You try to make it work with the brokenness that there is.
Yeah.
I come from a family where, for some reason, my dad ended up having 2 wives. Okay? We found a way of making it work. I love my siblings. We were 7 of us. I 4 from my mom, 3 from my stepmom. I love my sisters. We found a way of making it work, right? We found a way of making the unit work.
It's not all that bad.
No, listen to me. We found a way of making that unit work, okay? But if you ask me, I would have preferred to either have all of us being born by my mom or all of us being born by their mom. It's less complicated. You're going to visit on one end and you're being told what to eat, what not to eat, watch out, don't visit, whatever it is. It's like you're going to some place where you can be poisoned, murdered, or whatever. And so we can
Some
also
have been poisoned.
Yeah,
It has happened.
yeah.
It has happened,
But
yes.
then we
It
can
has
say no.
happened.
That doesn't always happen. In some places, it's okay, it's legit. And here's the thing: my stepmom is an honorable woman who's never harmed me. I just want it to be on record.
Yes.
Okay. But the thing is that if we find some way to make a broken thing work, it doesn't make it the pot. It's still a broken pot.
Colin, we need help here. Now,
need help with what?
Yes, because one of the things that has come out is this whole talk of the way things used to be and the way they are now. In your opinion, are they getting worse? Because what Chris has painted is an ideal situation, but we know that's not a fact.
So Peter, where I take issue with this topic, and I guess my point of departure is the prevalence of society to preach water and drink wine. That's where I take the issue.
Yeah.
If everyone was doing as Chris is saying, they say what they say and do what they say, would be fine. But as we have spoken in the last couple of weeks, people want to preach water and then do poverty alleviation activities in the night by eating pilau, right? So, or if they want to say, if you say, listen, I'm a polygamist, I'm going to do this, do it, but then be upfront about it. Don't. And it's not the lens. So it's not the lens. It's not the Christian lens that I'm saying, or the Muslim lens. It's not a religious lens. It's that the fewer secrets a society has, the more. If people remove the amount of energy they're expending to hide secrets, they can channel that energy into things that are productive and sort of society developmental. And that's not to say that these things are not important or they're not critical, but I think that a lot of time and a lot of energy is expended on trying to hide these things. Why? The first wife is expending energy trying to find out who the second wife is. The second wife expended energy on hiding from the wrath of the first wife. The husband is doing the same thing. At all this time, he is fending off attacks from potential wife 4, 5, and 6, who are also saying, you know what, I think those guys have a nice situation. Chris looks like no. Faisal looks like he has a good job. Right? Yeah. I think we can get into that situation and we can, right? So he's fending off. But at the same action of fending off is also vetting and filtering.
Yeah.
So I guess so that's one side of it. The other side of it is economically it's a flawed model. Because, and I'm not speaking about whether you can love two people the same, no. But I'm speaking about the way resources are so distributed these days. If you don't have sovereign wealth, if you're not a king and you're not like, you have no role, you have no business trying to be polygamous. There's not enough. So people used to say, if you can feed me, I'll be your wife. But like now you must feed them, you do saloon, you listen to stories, you must be a financial counselor, also be a coach and a guide. And I've said this before, I've said to you, like the amount of work we have put on a single partner, you can't be that for two people.
Peter.
We're going to have to get into a break and then we'll come back to that. And I want us to talk about the issue of finances because, you see, probably if there's any other reason, I don't know if it's a good enough reason for Chris to not be polygamous. Maybe it would be because of the financial part of it.
No, just finances.
We'll be right back after the break.
It's not.
Men. Men.
Welcome back from the break. We are talking about polygamy. My name is Peter Igaga, the boldest man in Kampala. Bold enough to talk about polygamy. Faisal, before we get to you,
Sir.
From a financial point of view, is that a good enough reason to stay away from polygamy?
No, it's not. And first of all, let me ask you, Peter, I want to believe you went to school, studied something, graduated at some level, right?
Yes, sir.
Just to be sure, so that what I'm about to talk about is right.
All right.
You got a degree at some point, for example. Did you hide the degree when you got it? Did you make sure nobody knows that you have this degree? Did you?
No.
Or there are a number of people you told, they came around, even celebrated with you?
Okay, the celebration wasn't done then.
Okay,
I had issues.
But you didn't hide it. That's the whole point.
Yes.
Okay. Every moment you find yourself in a situation where you have to hide something, most likely it's a wrong thing you are doing. The reason why we find ourselves trying to hide things is because there is this inner voice, a voice of conscience that is telling you this is right and this is wrong. Whether a certain religion told you or it didn't, whether you learned it from school, from your teacher of history or not, or this was your dad or mom who told you or not, or you watched it in a cartoon, doesn't matter. There is always that voice within us that knows the right and knows the wrong. So when you find that this picture that my brother painted, hiding from wife hiding from, that already tells us, it goes back to what my brother Chris was talking about. That already communicates that there is an anomaly somewhere, there is something wrong going on, it shouldn't be going on. That's a very important thing. So now coming to your question of finances. Finances could be one of the reasons for some people. In other words, if they had enough money, bro, they would take on a farm of 32 women and call them the wife.
Yeah.
Solomon,
but now they are humble.
Solomon did 1,000.
Now, you know, but now they are humble. You see, there are people who are humbled by poverty. And later when they get the money, you hear somebody say, that guy used to be a humble man, good. But now when you got money, that's not true. Money does not change you, just like power. It only amplifies who you have been all along.
Yeah.
So for some people, money is the reason. But for people like me and a number of others that may think the way I think, even money is not one of my reasons why I am monogamous, why I only have Miss Universe, the queen of my heart, Honorable Charity, my watermelon.
Wow.
Finances is not one of the reasons why I am monogamous.
You shocked.
I am monogamous because number one, I am monogamous because I have come to realize that that is what actually works. In the short term, in the medium term, and most especially in the long term, it is what works. And let me even say this, as a form of self-exposure. I actually come from a polygamous family. My dad had 2 wives, and I know exactly how a polygamous family looks like. And when I look at how our family played out, I realize it was not unique to our family. I have seen it in so many other different families that are polygamous, and the story is not a good one, right? So it's not only finance, it is practicability. It's what really works truly in the long term, monogamy. But also personal values. What do you stand for? You see, if you stand for nothing, you will fall for anything.
Yeah.
What do you stand for? What are your values?
You can
What are your
stand for
values?
2 wives.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's okay. And so I'm explaining that one of my values is one wife.
one wife.
That's
Yes.
precisely what
Let me-
I'm
let me
explaining.
ask you just one
As a matter of value and principle.
Wait.
And thirdly, I am monogamous because the God who created me to become monogamous. You see, I play the guitar, I play the keyboard, I love music.
So there
I
you're
see.
Not, you're not monogamous.
If you get, in musical instruments, I'm not monogamous because it was not supposed to be like that from the start.
Yeah.
If I give an example of a guitar, Peter, if you want to know how a guitar should function, you don't ask the guitar. That's foolishness. I don't have another word to call it. You instead go to the manufacturer. Please, sometimes the manufacturer sends the guitar with the user's manual, sends the guitar with a manufacturer's guide. You need to go back to either the manufacturer or the manual or user's guide he sent the guitar with in order to understand how the guitar works. So if we really want to know how marriage works, we need to be able to be bold. You said you are the boldest guy. We need to be able to be bold enough to go back to the manufacturer of marriage and ask, how is it supposed to
That
work?
guy you're talking to is not an authority on
Then
marriage.
I need to talk to you.
He already
Then I need
wait. So this guy already escaped one wedding.
Yes.
He ran away from the wedding.
Okay.
This one. No, like,
Guys,
we
I
go
feel
out
like
of it.
I feel like we have really veered from
Yes.
what is happening to such idealistic situations.
Yes, so-
the things you guys are talking about, then divorced women would not get married again.
Say that again.
Women who have kids would not get married again, because in the ideality of it being ideal, those two are also not supposed to exist.
I've got something.
Now,
So
let me
the
so let me talk about this.
That I am monogamous, for example, is it ideal? Is it real?
I'm coming to that. I gave you time. So let
Because
me
we
come
keep
to that.
throwing around the word ideal
other
to
thing-
silence reality.
No. A lot of the time,
Yes.
we play around with the word money. Yeah, and we say people are getting polygamous because they have money, guys. Saudi Arabia, those guys have more money than us. But the statistics show that Africans are still way more polygamous than the people we
have more money than
picked it from. You see, there,
That's why money
if
is
you
not
do
the
not
only
treat
reason.
those 2 women right, you get arrested. It's a crime. Here, because we are just doing what we want.
You're
It's
licensed to
not
kill.
about money, guys. And let me talk about it in this way. Yeah, we're in a society that is actually pushing for polygamy, and let me explain why. One, today women are getting jobs, right? Today women they are studying. There are more women in school than what men. There are more women graduating than men.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's a fact.
they're also climbing the corporate ladders, right? Yeah. When you change the lens and you look at men, there are more women. There are more men in prison. There are more men committing
95%.
suicide.
Which country?
Uganda. I'm talking
Uganda.
about
In
Uganda
Uganda,
here.
that's
Across the world, that's
94.
Yeah,
I don't know
But
about
in
the world,
Uganda-
but I'm talking about here. There are more men going down the drain. So what's going to happen? These women that have been emancipated, they now can earn their own, they can live their own, have reached the dating market, and now it's time to date. Women date, I don't know what the word is, hypergamous,
Hypergamous.
either
Hypergamous.
opposite or up.
Yes, same level or up.
Yes, exactly. So it is going to be very difficult in future to find men that are going to meet the number of emancipated women out there, because as a woman I've studied, I have a job, I'm doing this and that. Where am I going for Faisal, who does not have some of these things figured out? If you look at NTV Men right now, the women who are watching this show, I kid you not, we all don't have the equal number of women looking towards us. There's a man who's married. There's another man who is there. You might find that in the end, me, Faisal, is the one who's going to still end up single.
Grassy.
Why? Because you men here, wait, let me finish. Because you men here possess the specific qualities these women are looking for. And I kid you not, the women of today, the women who have gone through it all, you've studied, you've graduated, you've faced all that pressure, you've done all that stuff, are not going to turn around and now say, you know what, let me date a guy who's just starting, let me do this and that and that.
I want to add on that.
It doesn't happen like that. So what happens is, the women are all going to look at one man.
Yes.
And this one man,
also takes them
you know, the funny thing is, you people, a lot of women blame us for polygamy, but guys, it's these guys who are enjoying, not
Which
me,
guys?
not
Which
you.
guys?
It is these guys who are accomplished
Wait,
that are enjoying this polygamy, because now they are looking towards you guys, and you guys have no problem.
Okay, so two
Which
things.
guys?
So
Which guy?
married guys. No, married guys.
I don't want to point fingers, because then someone's wife might call me.
So one,
Faisal speaks like he has statistics
I
about
agree
us
with
and-
Faisal because I agree with Faisal because these people that Faisal is talking about, these educated, high-moneyed, high-powered women, they would rather share a pita.
I thought we're not using me as an example.
No, I mean we are here now.
All right.
They would rather,
Just lean into the traffic. In the traffic, the border is scraping. Don't go. Lean in. So the guy, the woman would rather share a Peter because we've seen Peter's credentials, we've seen his life purpose, we've seen what he has done with one wife. We want to say would rather share a Peter than go with the untested Faisal. So when you sit here and you look at it in your
idealistic
fixed lens, you forget that there are people who are also making these rational plays. They're looking at life and they're trying to figure it out, and they say, let me make this play, let me make this choice. So two things, and I think I want to close on that. So one, it speaks into when we came back with this season, we said we're speaking to men in transition, right? Sam and Chris are not men in transition.
Yeah.
They have nothing substantial to add this conversation to men who are out there. They're advising people. No. To men, they're not.
You should be the one to.
No.
You've just made a statement.
They can
easily.
No, nothing substantial means if a guy is in the dilemma, you're not the people he should be listening to.
Why not?
Why not?
Because your position is non-negotiable, right?
Are you sure about what you're talking about?
Your position is non-negotiable.
No. Are you sure about what you're talking
I am certain. Because not only have I spoken to you on this show, I've known you for a long time. So if a guy...
Even me? You've known him for a long time?
Is this the first time you've come to this show?
A long time.
Is it not? Has it not been here before? So
Try to make your point.
I am
Make your point.
making
Make your
one.
point.
I'm saying that if a guy is in transition and is in a dilemma, the guy who is taking the religious position of a terrorist, an extremist fundamentalist, is not who you want to listen to, because they are not hearing the points, your point of view. They're not going to be very understanding.
Is that how you're describing Chris?
And you. So that's one. And so the guy in transition, who this show is meant to help, is not going to benefit or get a lot of empathy and understanding. That's the first one. But the second one, I think, is the thing that, so the laws, so the world runs on, certain principles and laws. One of those principles is this principle of distribution, right? So 80% of all resources accrue to, 20% of people. And it's how money is. 80% of your results come from 20% of your work. And if you let factors of production move freely, and that's what Faisal is saying, you will find that as we are seated here, if people were to vote willingly, people like Peter or like Sam, they may benefit more than others of us here on this set. And that's how it works in the real world. That those who have then get added more. And it's an unfair reality, but that's what happens. So when women have free will, they'll go for the guy who already has 3 wives. Because if he has 3 wives, what is a 4th? But the guy who's there struggling with one, whether it's ideological, is just under punishment.
The saying you are looking for is, it's just one line. The saying you are looking for is, the girl said, I would rather cry in a married man's Rolls Royce than in my boyfriend's Vitz. Like this boy bought her Vitz, but she would rather.
We do need to wrap up
Let
because
him
we're out of time. So we're going to start off
Start from that side.
No. We start with your parting shots, and then we'll come and end this side.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people need to read more about polygamy. Yeah, because there's a lot of illiteracy around that topic. A lot of the situations you guys have been talking about are adultery. It is adultery. You have a wife, you're seeing someone, and you're hiding them. That is adultery. Polygamy is official. The side A knows, side B knows. But this whole thing of you have a woman in Kampala, then you have to go to Jinja, then this person doesn't know, then the other person is hiding, that is straight out adultery. Yeah, let's not call it polygamy. 2, there's polygamy culture, there's polygamy religion. Those 2 are also different. In terms of culture, I don't know how those things operate. In terms of religion, I don't think I will ever be able to qualify to be a polygamous man. Why? Because I have failed to ever be equal to. Even my friends, I have friends, but I will always do something more for A than B. My parents, I'll always do something more for my mom than my dad. I am not a person of everything is going to be equal. Yeah. But 3, I would want the people watching this to understand that the reason why you're taking on polygamy shouldn't be because you have money. Because money comes and goes. And that's a fact. So today you're going to get that money, you're going to get these women, and then what's going to happen? COVID is going to come. You saw what happened during COVID. Things got tight. If you are to do it, I don't know what reason you're going to take, but let it not be money. Yeah? And even in our religion, before you do it, sit down with a person, understand why are you actually why are you taking up this whole point of taking on someone else? You can't just come and say, oh guys, we are now married, we now have a 2nd, 3rd wife or whatever. It just doesn't work like that.
Okay. Chris, your parting shots. Are your ears still hot?
I took them off. They took a break and they came back.
Yeah.
2, 3 things I really want to say real quick. I don't know any woman who can look me in the eye honestly and say they do not like to be exclusively loved.
Yes.
Every woman was created for exclusivity. They cherish it, they dream it. It's how they grew. They even while they say, maybe in Kampala, Musajja taba womu, the same person saying that really desires that the husband is theirs, mine. People have statements like, my man. Okay? When you read Song of Solomon, you have the beloved speaking to her lover, and it's an exclusive relationship even with all the others around. Now, Solomon, tongue in cheek, got this polygamy thing because you see in Ecclesiastes, when he had grown older and wiser, he said, guys, I've tried everything under the sun and I found it to be meaningless. He said, I did not deny my body to do anything. So it's like a guy who went and did this grand experiment of everything in life, and then in Ecclesiastes he comes back and says, meaningless, says the teacher.
Meaningless.
So this polygamy thing is one of them. In fact, he even talks about how bitter it is to be with women. Okay, but Solomon, just again for education, for those who may not know, was officially married, not to 2, not to 4, 700
official
wives, and then he was committing adultery with 300 others. He was at 1K. Talk of chaos. Now, people, you have a simple instruction for your joy. Look, I like simplicity. Now there's a model, there are 4 tablets. You come from chaos. Yeah, that's like when there's war and bombs all over. To simplify it a little, you get to complicated. Okay, maybe that comes from Solomon's 1,000 wives to 4 women or whatever it is that you're doing. That's complicated. Complex is having 2. When you're running a girlfriend, a baby mama, or whatever you guys sometimes talk about. Your life is crazy. It's difficult. Simple is having 1.
Yeah.
Now, when you're solving problems, you come from chaos to complex, to complicated,
Too simple.
to simple. I'd like to just advise you. A small advice. 1, look, I have been married 21 years. I've not yet understood my wife completely.
Of course, you
true.
can.
And this is the simplest of them. You want to have 2, 4, 10. Pray for you.
Colin, your parting shots.
Peter, these tasks that so society is built on 2 types of shoulders, right? Those who sustain and those who advance. And I think that certain ideas have their time, right? There was a time when these ideas were accepted. It might be that today, when you speak your fancy English and you sit here, you think that the ideas time is gone. But my view and perspective on this is, again, which is what I was saying, that we must be open to mean what we say and say what we mean. So don't tell people that you're giving them exclusivity and then not, right? And also the thing that Chris was saying, that women are created for exclusivity. And I think that that's a privileged idea, right? It's a planned kid thing. It's no, because the real world, like, listen, man, Peter,
Guys,
and Chris
things are
knows what I'm saying.
different.
I don't know what you're saying.
In the real world, the factors that drive decision making for companionship vary, and they won't always be love. As I said before, women would rather have security than love. Men would rather have respect than love. When you understand that a man thinks, if in his mind his decision making model says he'll have more respect by having an extra wife.
Just so you know, love is security.
Okay.
Story for another day, but it is.
So as you can see, the lens through which people see what they need and what they want then determines how they approach these things. But we must always be conscious to that. My only message to the audience is live your truth.
All right. Finally, Sam, and also I want you in 1 minute as you wrap up to pick one of your favorite books of these that you've got here, and just tell us one word about it.
Interesting. I will connect from where he has ended when he says, live your truth. Sounds noble, doesn't it? Just like many other statements, follow your heart. Noble sounding statements. I would want to put a little tweak. Be careful following your heart, because your heart may be full of a lot of filth that you need to first clean. Be careful following your truth, what you call your truth, because your truth may actually be false. Be bold enough to find the truth. Not your truth, not my truth, but the truth. In English, we have the definite and the indefinite articles. When you say a boy has fallen sick, everybody will say, oh, which one? Because of the article you used, ah. But when you say the boy has fallen sick, it is presupposing that it is the other boy we were all talking about. We already know it's definite. The moment you make truth an issue of a truth, so that you have yours, I have mine, everybody brings, we are going to have a chaotic life anyway. We already have it and we see it as a result. Can the way we define courage and boldness be looking in the mirror and asking yourself, what is the truth? Secondly, let's do our best to discover principles and not live by facts. Facts change, guys. Facts change. If you got a map of Uganda in 1992 and you have it in your sitting room, in 1992 when you got it, It was factual.
There were 54 districts.
No,
It
but
was
guys,
Wait.
no,
This is-
You had your
maps
time,
are
Faisal.
imaginary. They are
Faisal,
not
you had your
drawn.
time.
Maps
Be
are
disciplined,
imaginary.
be disciplined.
That's not a fact.
Discipline.
That's not a
In
fact.
Let him finish.
1990 something, you bought the map of Uganda and it had, for example, 52 districts. That was a fact then. Today it's not. Why? Because the facts change. At the same time, in 1992, there was something called the law of gravity. That when you jump from the tree, you will not be jumping going up. You will be jumping coming down. In 2025, go and jump. Still the same thing applies. That is a principle. So as we dissect these issues in our turbulent days, including polygamy, besides being bold enough to discover the truth, let's also look out for the principles, not just the facts. The facts talk about the reality. He likes that word so much. The reality. The facts talk about the reality. This is what we are going through. This is what people are doing. This is what is happening, guys, and that's the reality. And indeed it's happening, and those are facts. Yeah. Can we find the principles of these things? If it is money, find the principles of money. The fact could be, or the reality could be that you're broke. But the principle, the principle is that if you don't save, you don't invest, you won't multiply your resources. If it is in marriage, find out the principles. The fact could be that you and your wife are now not seeing each other eye to eye. That's a fact. That's a reality. But the principle could be that if you work on your communication, the heat, the warmth in your marriage will be different. It could be politics. The fact is that we have this number of political parties, but there could be a principle of how you deal with the people for them to vote for you. Let's not just look at facts and how things are. Let's be bold enough to go back to how things were supposed to be and then say, can we come closer to how things were supposed to be? That's my take.
The one second about you.
For the books, I've written 26 books so far in the areas of leadership, business, education, marriage, fatherhood, and so on and so forth. Yeah. And because of this specific program and the topic, I will highlight one that talks about that. Courageous Dads. Mm-hmm. The 7 proven strategies for raising resilient children today. And it goes hand in hand with Remarkable Woman.
Okay, not women.
Remarkable woman.
Okay. All right, guys. This has been a very sticky and tricky topic. At the end of the day, I know we cannot all agree, but I often say, and unfortunately this time I'm going to lean towards Colin about your truth, because it's your life. And I believe that we're never coming back. I don't believe in reincarnation.
Your life affects everyone around you.
After that, it's going to be a different thing. So be selfish. First of all, think about yourself so that you can give something to others. That's it for me.
Thinking about yourself does not mean you are selfish. Being selfish is a different thing.
We'll see you next week on your favorite show.
Yeah.
And that is Men.